Al,
Yeah.
the pals are back in town.
Back in business.
2 weeks away, but we're back.
Yep.
Back at it.
Laptop is alive again.
Yeah, so obviously we took 2 weeks off, which was
Yeah.
not intended.
Nope.
My laptop's cooling fan was just like, hey, what if I just didn't work anymore?
What
And
if
I was
I
like,
just died?
that's probably a bad thing to have happen. So had to go get that fixed, and it took way longer than anticipated. So we had to we took a week off, obviously, because we kind of knew that was going to be the plan, and then that 1 week turned into 2 weeks, which was not the plan, and it became very stressful
Thanks,
and
Postal Service.
and
Not your
anxiety
fault,
focused.
Postal
Yes,
Service. Not your fault, Postal Service.
bad timing all around.
You're doing your best. You are just being failed by people above you, Postal Service.
That is very true. So apologies for missing 2 weeks. I definitely did not like doing that, but kind of had to do it just to do it.
Yeah, we had to do what we got to do.
Yeah, but we're back. We're back at it again,
Fan works.
and we're going to talk about something real dumb. What better way to welcome us back than by talking about something real dumb?
Oh, man.
So, hello, welcome back to this week's episode of the Season of Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. I am Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
This is episode 192.
Whoa.
And we're going to talk about a game that came out last year that was very controversial, very divisive.
Mm-hmm.
It is the latest game from Hideo Kojima.
What?
It's a game called Death Stranding.
It is.
I played through Death Stranding.
You did.
I did. Oh, boy.
That's kind of like the definition of like falling on the sword for this podcast. Like between me playing Final Fantasy 15 and you playing Death Stranding and me potentially playing Final Fantasy 7 remake, like and the Colonel Sanders dating game. Like sometimes we really fall on the sword for this podcast, guys.
Death Stranding is a complicated video game that has a lot of various things about it that makes you feel very complicated. Not just like because like the themes or anything are heavy. It's just like there are parts of this game that I actually enjoy, but it's also surrounded by parts of this game that I don't enjoy. So that makes for just a very weird and peculiar experience. Al,
that's me.
You have been in the zeitgeist of video games over the past 4 or 5 years since this game was officially announced. Tell me everything you know about Death Stranding.
I know that it has Norman Reedus in it.
Uh-huh.
I know that you're a delivery guy.
That is also correct.
There's something with a baby.
Yes.
What's his name? Mads in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody else. Shoot. There's somebody else famous in there too.
There's quite a few famous people in this game.
But there were only like a few that were mentioned to begin with. I don't remember the other one. Anyway, lots and lots and lots of advertisement in it. I've heard that.
Kind of.
Yeah. No junk.
No junk.
Yeah, I heard that when that was a big thing. And then, the whole, like, Kojima's a complete and utter hack and thinks that he is God's gift to everything.
Are you sure that's not just you editorializing here?
Nope, that's a fact. That is a fact. He apparently did everything. Edit the credits so it all says Kojima because he did all the things.
It's true, he did.
That's really all I know about this game.
Al, I'm going to tell you character names from this game, and I want you to tell me what these tell me the theme of this character.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll get where we're going with this. There is a character that is named Fragile.
Oh my god.
Tell me what that character is about.
Is this like the whole quiet thing? Like, does he just literally name characters after like, oh man, this person can't talk. Well, they're quiet. This person is emotionally vulnerable. Well, they're fragile. Or maybe they're physically fragile. I don't know.
There you go. You got it.
They're like the person in SpongeBob that like their bones break every day.
This character has a catchphrase, which they say, "I'm fragile, but I'm not that fragile." And they say it both in the different ways each time.
I want to launch this game into the sun along with Kojima.
There's a character that is named Mama.
Is she literally a mother, or is she just like doting?
No, she is a mom, and she gave birth to a ghost baby.
Excuse me?
Yes, we'll get to that.
Okay.
There is a character who is called Die Hard Man. Please tell me what this character is all about.
Christmas. Wow, Die Hard Man. Oof, that's a name?
That is a name.
Is it one word or?
It's Die-Hard Man.
Wow. I would assume he's some kind of tough guy.
He can't die. Please tell me about Dead Man. This is a different character.
He's actually dead.
Yeah, basically. His body is made up of like parts from cadavers.
Oh, okay, so he's like Frankenstein's monster.
That he literally says that in the game.
Oh, okay, wow. See, I could write a Kojima game.
I mean, tell me about Heartman.
He has a lot of heart. No, actually what he is, you know, in Captain Planet, you get that one kid that's like not an element. He's the heart kid. It's that guy.
Nope.
Oh, tragic.
You're thinking too outside the box here.
Is he literally a heart?
No. He's done some stuff to where like he will live for like 21 minutes or something like that, and then die for 21 minutes. Go to cardiac arrest, and then he'll like resuscitate himself, and he does that constantly.
He would have brain damage.
Look, that's a lot. That's you're asking a lot here. Tell me about the character who's named Higgs.
Higgs?
Yes.
Like H-I-G?
Higgs.
I don't know. What would that?
He thinks he's like the Higgs particle.
Oh wow.
So he thinks he's a god.
Okay.
Tell me about the character who's named Clifford.
He's a big red dog.
Shut up.
I don't know. When I think of Clifford, besides the big red dog, I just think of like some like old man.
He describes himself as he was living his life and he was on the cliff's edge.
I hate this so much. I hate this so much. We're like 10 minutes of this podcast and I hate this so much.
Welcome to the amazing writing and wordplay of Hideo Kojima in Death Stranding.
Is this even wordplay at this point?
No, it's just stating the obvious every time.
It's either stating the obvious or just being stupid.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being named Clifford and you're like, you know what? Because I have Cliff in my name, I'm going to like really like to be on the edge of all things. Like, come on.
And of course, we have our protagonist, Sam Porter Bridges, who is a porter because he delivers stuff, but also he works for the company Bridges, which is bridging the country together.
That's where I was going to go with that.
Wordplay.
And you can see his butt.
You do see a lot of Norman Reedus' butt in this game. As we said, there's a lot of famous people in this game. Norman Reedus, you play as him. He is the player character. Norman Reedus is still a bad actor. This game did not change my opinion on that.
No,
Boy, howdy. But like, he is perfect for this role because he just doesn't do anything. And that's just how he acts. Like, they obviously got him in way more than they got Kiefer Sutherland in for Metal Gear Solid 5. So, like, that's a bonus. So you can actually hear him talk most of the time. But even then, it's just him just being like, I'm going to talk in this monotone voice the whole time, even though I'm in this very emotional scene. I'm Norman Reedus.
I
I love
mean,
motorcycles.
that's what I was gonna tell the people is like I texted you once because I was like, anytime that there's a motorcycle, he just gets the job, and like easily his best role is as Judas in Lady Gaga's song.
That's basically the amount of acting that he brings to this game.
Yeah, like he probably emotes more by pouring the beer on Gaga's butt than he does in this entire game. 90% chance of that.
I think he gives the same amount of just like acting prowess that he gives to when he drinks a can of Monster Energy in this game.
Oof. Oof. Yeah, he's not a good actor.
No, he definitely is not. But he's in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, like he has that great acting experience to be a protagonist in a video game, which is not good. Mads Mikkelsen is in this. He is like one of two people in this game that like actually showed up and gave it. Like, he is really good in this game.
I mean, he's pretty good at like what he does though in general. So I'm not surprised that he like gave this his all, but they tried.
Like, he does a fantastic job throughout this game, and like makes you care about his character in a way that you don't care about any of the other characters in this game.
Which character is he?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, like he tried.
He gets an actual "you tried" sticker.
Yeah,
not,
I think
not the,
Kojima probably like
bullshit
gave him more stuff to do because like he has such a man crush on him.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
It also isn't Mads the dude who like was in a Rihanna video because his kids were like, "Hey, you should do this Rihanna video." He's like, "I don't know who that is."
Was he?
I think that's the case.
I'm going to.
And he did that just so his kids would think he was cool.
I'm gonna look this up. Because that's hilarious if that's the case.
He was in the video for Better Have My Money.
Wow. All right, sure. I had to double check with my kids. They were screaming in my face. You moron, don't you know who she is? If you don't do this, I'll kill you.
It's real good. It's real good.
God, those are aggressive children.
He's just like, okay, cool, let's do it.
All right, I guess.
Also in this video game is Guillermo del Toro, who only brings his visual appearance. He does not provide his voice, which is very weird.
That is weird. Who did they get to voice him?
Jesse Corti.
That's such a bizarre choice.
It's super like he's not the only person they do that with. Jesse Corti was in Lost Odyssey as Gongora.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. They got I gotta remember Nicholas Winding Refn. He's the director of Drive. Or yeah, Drive the what's his face? I forget the actor's name now. Regardless. He's mostly famous for that.
Drive?
Yeah, the movie Drive.
I don't watch movies, but I can look it up. Drive. 2011 film.
It's the Ryan Gosling film.
Ryan Gosling.
He's got that cool scorpion jacket and all that sort of stuff. So he directed that. He's in this. Does not provide his voice. Weird. And then they got Darren Jacobs to voice him, which I don't know what this dude's done. So there's that. Elsewhere in this here video game, Fragile is played by Léa Seydoux. She's a French actress. I don't know much of like what she's been in. But Kojima was like, I've probably seen a movie with her in it. I will get her to be in my film or my video game. Wink, wink.
I mean, you basically just nailed how this entire thing went down.
Yeah. Troy Baker's in this. Yeah.
Sorry.
Lindsay Wagner's in this as the president of the United States.
Oh man, we're gonna get like knocked down now because we said anything about Troy Baker.
Oh god, he's gonna post presidential quotes at us.
I know, he's gonna come at us on Twitter with his like weird pretentious quotes.
Also in here is Emily O'Brien, who has also done stuff. She was apparently an actress on The Young and the Restless.
Whoa! Does that mean Kojima watched The Young and the Restless?
I hope so. Tommy Earl Jenkins is Die Hard Man. This is like the other guy who actually does like a really good job in this. Like there is a scene at the end of this game where like he's explaining something to you and like literally like you see him just like break down emotionally and like it's very good. But again, like one of the two people in this game that actually like tries. So there is that.
Did you say Conan O'Brien's in it?
Conan O'Brien's in this game, yeah.
Weird.
And then Margaret Qualley, probably butchering that name, is Mama and Lockney because they're twins.
Whoa.
She's been in stuff as well. So there you go. There's your cast. Yeah, there's a bunch of like weird cameos. Like Conan O'Brien's in this. Sam Lake, the dude from Remedy's in this game somewhere. There is a reviewer from Famitsu in this game, which is real weird.
What?
Which, by the way, Famitsu gave this game a 40 out of 40.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Junji Ito's in this game.
Did you say Edgar Wright's in it too?
Yeah, Edgar Wright is also in this game as well. I think that's like the main gist of like the big kind of cameo people that show up in this game. But yeah, and then yeah, it's weird. Still weird, regardless.
Did Kojima put himself in the game?
I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I ever saw him when I was playing through. But I didn't like go and seek out like all the people to talk to and everything. So he might show up in this at some point. But I don't know for sure. Oh yeah, Jeff Keighley's in this game as well, and he is basically played out to be like the biggest dork in the world. Like it's embarrassing.
Oh God.
Like if I would have seen that, if I would have be Jeff Keighley and I saw that afterwards, I'd be like, dude, what the f?
Thought we were friends.
Like it just seems like he's just like the biggest mark in the world, and it's just like Kojima's like, yeah, I know.
Wow. That's kind of mean.
It seems kind of mean, yeah.
So Kojima's bully confirmed.
Kojima's just gonna Kojima. Let's talk about this game without talking about the story quite yet, but
okay.
About the gameplay of this video game.
You walk.
You do a lot of walking. I wouldn't say this is like a walking simulator because like they also try and add in like shooting and stuff like that to this game, which is very bad. It like they try to make this more of an action game than it needs to be. Where like, oh, you can shoot people and shoot the spooky ghost ink monsters and all this sort of stuff, and it's like it never feels good. It feels kind of bad, especially because like I just came off of playing a little bit of Metal Gear Solid 5, which is a fantastic playing game, and then coming to this and it's like, oh, this doesn't feel as good. Obviously, you know, it's a different engine and everything, all that sort of stuff, but like, yeah, it just felt very tacked on and unnecessary. The gameplay loop of like just going around and delivering stuff and just kind of like walking around in these environments is actually pretty good and just like kind of relaxing. Like if you took this game and made it just like, hey, it's a delivery game where you spend like 15-ish hours going around delivering stuff and that was it, like I think this game would be just so much better. Because like it does, like I spent like 40 hours playing this game. It does kind of like wear out its welcome once you get past halfway, because like they introduce like some various gameplay elements like going through the mountains and all that sort of stuff, which just are very tedious and just not fun. But also it gives me the sense of like people are saying like this game felt like a AAA indie game essentially, like an indie game with a huge budget with the way the
Mm-hmm.
gameplay was when it first came out. And like now I kind of understand like why people would say that, just because of the way the loop is and everything, and just how like not super duper actiony it is. Like it's very weird, but like a lot of the gameplay can be quite enjoyable if you're just like, just chilling and going around delivering stuff to people, building like roads and all this sort of stuff. And like the way they have the online component to this game, where like you'll see in the environments like stuff people have built throughout the world, things they've dropped and everything you can go deliver for them and all this sort of stuff. Like that stuff is incredibly cool. So you'll see out in like the environment, like once you put like an area on the network, you'll see like, oh, well, this person built this bridge right here, or this person has a sign right here, and it's like, oh, hey, there's something over there, or there's a ladder right there you can go use that I built and people have been using, all that sort of stuff. It's just really, really cool the way that they are able to implement all that sort of stuff, and just like seeing the interesting ways people have kind of tried to traverse this environment and make it easier on not only themselves, but like everyone else that's going to come around afterwards. Which also, like, there's a like system in this game where you can like use something and you can like it afterwards, and like you can upgrade how long you can sit there and mash the touchpad to like something. It's just real weird. But like I saw like I think a bridge in that game at one point that had like over 1 million likes.
Jeez.
Which I was like, oh boy, that's a lot of likes. But like it's super cool. Like it just pulls in like all this stuff immediately once you add something to the network, and like you see just like, here's how people are getting around and everything. Here's what people are doing to like help everyone else out. Like I heard some stories, I think, like around launch about people kind of grifting here and there, of just like, I'm gonna park a vehicle right in front of this terminal so you can't get around this or anything like that. But like
Ugh.
six like, what, I don't know, 10 months after the fact, like it seemed just very chill, just like people being like, there's vehicles all around that you can just pick up and go use. Here's some cool bridges, here's some ladders, here's some ropes to help you get around everything. Like that aspect of the game is just incredibly cool. Graphically it looks amazing. Like it is fantastic looking. Which I think helps because like there's not a whole lot of like different environments you have to go through. Like there's 2 maps in general. Characters look great. Those Monster Energy cans, very high res.
Yep.
Those might be the best looking things in this video game.
That's terrible.
They look real good.
No, I mean, I've seen and I believe it, but like when that's the most detailed thing in your game, like, oof, how much did they pay you, buddy?
They paid the big bucks.
Yeah, apparently.
Sony was like, oh, all right, I guess we'll give you money so you can get this Monster Energy deal. But I think on the flip side, like, I mean, you saw this when this was first announced. Like, this obviously was the first game he put out after the breakup with Konami. And when he announced this game, people were like, oh man, I cannot wait for this. This is Kojima finally with the shackles ripped off. He's going to be as crazy as he wants to be and all this sort of stuff. And like, that's not really the case here. Like, I mean, there's a lot of weird and supernatural elements to this game. But it's nothing like super just like bonkers or over the top as it was in like Metal Gear or anything like that. And I think that's kind of the case because like Metal Gear was able to kind of like ramp that up as the games went on, because like, there was this legacy of games and everything. There's this legacy of like, here's weird stuff happening, and you could buy into this universe like getting more and more weird as time went on. And with this kind of being a fresh slate, you can't really just do that off the bat. So like, while there are some like weird and bizarre elements in this game, like nothing is like super wacky or just like out there that you're like, oh man, he's really free now. He's really able to do whatever he wants. He's got no editor or anything like that. It's like, in all honesty, this feels like real tame for Kojima, which I think is probably not what a lot of people would have wanted or expected.
Right.
So it's very weird in that aspect. And also, look, this is a game that has nothing to say, so I don't know how weird you can get when your whole premise of your game is just like, I'm just going to like say the most obvious things, hit you over the head with everything because you are too stupid to understand anything or pick up anything within any layers or anything like that. So we have to basically just bash your brain in until you get this.
Ugh,
And then by the end
that's
of it,
so
just be
lame.
like, yeah, we're not really going to say anything of important at all by the end of this.
That's really lame.
Yep.
I have a real question for you, though.
Okay.
Was there any point in this game that you were singing to yourself, I'm going to be?
I'm going to be.
Yeah. I would walk 500 miles. I would
Oh.
walk 500 more.
No, I don't think so. But this game does basically beat you over the head with licensed music at times.
Oh?
There's like one of the things I think he talked about was like, oh, you're gonna like go over this mountain and see like this new area for the first time. We're gonna have music play for you to like welcome you into this new area, which is interesting the first time you get it at the very beginning of the game.
Right.
Then he does it like 25 more times. And you're just like, okay, dude, we get it. You really like this band that you're going to keep playing for us as we see these new areas. But like, yo, it was kind of cool the first couple of times. Once we get to the 20th time, it's a little old-fashioned by this point.
What band is it?
I think it's a band called Low Roar. It's a very indie-style band.
Oh, okay.
It's like Kojima got real into indie bands at some point. And then there's like other licensed music on the soundtrack that you can play in the game. Like there's a song from Churches. There's a song from Bring Me the Horizon. Because sure. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah. But like most of the songs you hear in the game that like the game plays for you specifically is like very just like soft indie rock type stuff. Which is like, yeah, it's fine, but like I don't need to hear it over and over and over. It's not the same song over and over. It's different songs, but just like I don't need to see that gimmick over and over and over again.
Yeah,
You're playing it out at that point.
Would have shook it up a little bit?
What's that?
Putting I'm gonna be in there.
That would
Like
be too funny.
You come across a mountain.
That would be too humorous and clever.
Hilarious.
Exactly. That's why it wouldn't have worked, because Kojima would not get that.
Oh, true. God, that'd be so funny.
All right. Do you want to hear the story?
Yeah.
Which is real dumb. I'm going by the Wikipedia section, which has a synopsis, two key categories for this: setting and plot.
Wait. We have to talk about the fact that you sent me a thing, music related.
I did.
You sent me a video, and
Yes.
yeah. Oh.
Tell me how happy you were to hear that.
Jared,
Yes.
please.
But you got to hear some good music in this game.
I mean, it is good music. I agree with you. I enjoy his music quite a bit. I listen to it a lot at work. I have records. But I don't do that with the records.
What if you did? What if you started doing that? That's how
No.
you started doing cool record scratch sounds.
No. Ruin your records. So irritating.
Yeah, so they include the funeral march from Chopin in this game.
Mm-hmm.
This is a scene where you're hanging out with Heartman. He flatlines and it starts playing Chopin.
Mm-hmm.
You're leaving the room, and then Sam turns back and starts record scratching for whatever reason.
Yep. And he says something stupid when he's walking away, doesn't he?
I think so. I don't remember exactly, but yeah.
It was so bro, and I hated it.
And then you get likes from Heartman as you leave because he gives you the thumbs up.
Oh my
Because that
god.
gives you likes. There's a lot of weird things about this game where it just breaks the fourth wall. And like there's no like real reason to do that. Like there's a lot of times when you're in like your personal like room with Sam where like he will just address the camera. Like just look at it like you go like, okay, we're gonna go. I need to go give you a shower. He'll take the camera and like turn it in a way to go with you, or like you're doing something else in there. He'll like so if you look behind him, there's like figurines. He'll like you do that. He'll basically like motion for the camera to come in and then turn around and be like, "Hey, look at this."
I don't like
It's
that.
real weird.
I don't like that.
Like, it
Is
doesn't
there
make
no
any sense.
explanation?
No.
On, like, okay, all right. That okay.
Like, it's not that like, oh, there's another person in here with you. It's like, no, you're the only person in here. This is just the camera. But he's making it as if there is an actual camera in there with him.
That's so weird.
Like, to me, that's just Kojima being weird again. But then it's just like, it just seems kind of pointless because like there's no explanation for it or just like reason for like why this would be the thing.
Yeah, you need some like narrative reason why that's the case.
It's dumb. That's the reason. Let's
Hit
talk
me with
about
the
this
story.
story. Okay, so we gotta. Thankfully, there is a setting portion here because like it gives you like a good outline of like what this some key things about this universe, which without it would probably be very confusing if we didn't have this. So this game is set in the apocalyptic United States, which it doesn't look like the United States because they're like, hey, we filmed all this in like Iceland. Where a cataclysmic event known as the Death Stranding caused beach things, BTs, invisible creatures originating from the beach, lands thought to be the beach. The beach's land is thought to be unique to each person that are typically visited during near-death experiences and are said to be the link to the afterlife. It's basically like purgatory, in a sense. BTs come from there, and now they have begun roaming the earth because of the Death Stranding. BTs cause explosions known as void outs when they consume the dead by necrosis and produce rain known as timefall that rapidly ages and deteriorates whatever it hits. So anytime you're out in the rain, you can't let it hit your body or else your body will start aging. And everything around you will start like aging very quickly. So like that's kind of a key gameplay component of like why you can't just like have stuff built in the world forever. Like eventually, the timefall will break it down if you don't like go and repair it or something like that. These events damage the country's infrastructure, leading its remaining population to confine themselves to remote colonies known as knot cities, which form the remaining United Cities of America.
Did you say knot cities?
KNOT cities.
Oh my god.
These colonies have since relied on the services of a company known as Bridges, whose porters brave the BTs, bandits, and terrorists to deliver supplies to the cities. Bridges also performs various government functions on behalf of the UCA, which is the United States of America. If they achieve a mental connection to a bridge baby, a BB, that is the baby, which is a premature child reflecting a state between life and death, it is possible for a person to sense the presence of a BT. Also, the babies are born from still mothers. Yep. Because that's how they're able to sense the sense between life and death.
The babies?
The babies, yes. Porters carry a BB with them, which is stored in a pod simulating a mother's womb. A condition known as dooms.
Dooms!
Depending on severity, also allows a person to naturally sense, see, or even control a BT, as well as granting a variety of powers such as teleportation or travel to other people's beaches. There are also individuals known as repatriates. There we go. I had to remember how they pronounce it. Who can travel back from the seam, a place between the world of the living and the beach upon death, which is what Sam is able to do. So like once you die, you have to like swim around until you find your body, and then you go back into it. That's the impetus for that weird scene where like you travel down his throat and you see the baby.
Ah.
You see that a lot.
Yeah, gross.
As such, these individuals can effectively return from death, though their deaths will still cause void outs if killed during contact with a BT. So void outs is essentially like a nuclear explosion.
Okay.
And they will like wipe cities off the map, which is basically kind of what happens in the very beginning of the game, which we will talk about. All right, here's the plot. So there is a bunch of story in this game, but a lot of it is just nonsensical. Not really nonsensical, it's just boring and dumb. Yeah. That's your impetus for this game. So you start the game. You are freelance courier Sam Porter Bridges, aka Norman Reedus. You're transporting cargo, but you're interrupted by the timefall. You're like, oh man, and then you crash your bike at some point. So you have to go get your stuff, and then you get into a cave, and that's where you meet up with Fragile. She is you're both evading a BT. You get assistance from her, and then she's like, hey, you want to come work for me? And he's like, no. And then you just go about your delivery. You arrive at your destination, which is Central Knot City, and then you're warned that, hey, one of the citizens is here committed suicide. Their corpse is on the verge of necrosis. We got to go get this out of here. And he's like, oh, God, okay, I guess I'll go.
I bet he talked just like that too.
Yeah, basically. Due to being both a repatriate and having dooms, Sam is assigned to transport the corpse into an incinerator to safely dispose of it. But an encounter with BTs hinders his progress, and the corpse causes a void out, destroying Central Knot City.
What?
Yeah. The whole city goes kaput. He survives though. He's the only one who survives. And then the BB he has throughout the entire game is from that. He gets that from the explosion or that area because he gets it from a dude who was with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay. He awakens in Capital Knot City and meets Dead Man, a doctor from Bridges. Sam is then tasked to deliver morphine for the dying president of the UCA, his adoptive mother. Bridget Strand, because remember, this is a Strand game.
Oh, right.
Let me read you from the back of the box what a Strand game is.
Oh, God.
This is a social strand system, which ushers in the new Strand game genre. Strands. So yeah, you're delivering morphine to your dying mother, who's the president of the United Cities of America. There, he also meets up with Die Hard Man, the director of Bridges and Sam's former boss before he left the organization. Bridget pleads with Sam to rejoin Bridges and help rebuild America before succumbing to her illness. She dies.
She succumbed to her illness.
She had cancer or something. That's why.
Okay.
Sam transports his adoptive mother's body to the incinerator. Mutta. But he's also there to incinerate BB-28, which is the baby he got from the void out place. He refuses to incinerate it because he's like, nah, this baby still works.
His baby still works.
With BB-28's assistance, Sam is able to evade a horde of BTs and return to Capital Knot City. Sam decides to take BB-28 as his own bridge baby, eventually nicknaming him Lou, which he doesn't do until 2/3 of the way through the game, and you're like, who's Lou?
Oh my God.
Because he just starts calling it Lou.
Is there an explanation as to why he chooses Lou?
Yes.
Okay.
Upon his return, Sam is reunited with his sister Amelie Strand, who is also known as Samantha America Strand.
Ooh.
She tells him that over the past 3 years, she has led an expedition across what is left of the continental United States, making contact with the remaining cities and survivor settlements and setting up terminals that would allow him to connect to the chiral network, a system that facilitates instantaneous communication across vast distances. However, upon reaching the last city on the west coast, Edge Knot City, Amelie was captured and is being held hostage by an anti-UCA terrorist group called the Homo Daemons to guarantee Edge Knot City's independence. Even though she is a hostage, she is still allowed to freely communicate with Bridges via the network. She tells Sam that he must follow the path of her expedition and use a device called a Cupid to connect the terminals she left behind to the chiral network. Then he must rescue Amelie and bring her back so she can take Bridges' place as the president of the UCA. Sam reluctantly accepts the mission since it is his only opportunity to find and rescue Amelie, which basically his whole time he's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Stop to make me trying to do this. I don't want to do this. But guess what? He's going to do it anyways.
Of course he is.
Of course, the succession of being a president is like, oh, the president died. Well, let's get their son or daughter to be the president now. I guess I don't know.
Because
that's how that works. Yeah. Sam then embarks on his mission to connect all the remaining cities to the network. Along the way, he delivers valuable cargo, assists other Bridges staff like Mama, Heartman, and Mama's twin sister Lochne in researching the Death Stranding and thwarts plots by the Homo Daemons and their leader Higgs Monaghan, which is Troy Baker. He also views Lou's memories, which show Lou as a parent father, Clifford Unger, which is Mads. Clifford himself, now a spectral entity, occasionally attacks Sam in an effort to recover Lou, transporting Sam to beaches that take the appearance of historical theaters of war. So, you will randomly go to various combat scenarios in this game. The first one you go to is set in World War One.
Okay.
The next one you go to is set in World War II.
Okay.
And then the third one you go to is set during Vietnam.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we get specific battles or?
No, it's just you fighting through places that look like they would have been in these various wars, and then you fight Cliff.
Did they do them historically accurate, at least in terms of equipment, or? Yeah,
kind of. He has ghost soldiers, skeleton soldiers with him. At first they have just very generic rifles, M1 Garands essentially, and then I think they eventually upgrade. Once you get to Vietnam, they're more machine guns and stuff like that.
And outfits and everything, or are they just skellies?
They have outfits, but they like you clearly see that they're skeletons because like they just have a skull face. Um,
And you end each one by fighting Cliff.
yes, because he
Okay.
wants the BB back.
He wants Lou back.
He wants Lou back, and Sam's just like, what are you doing? Get away from me, dude. You weirdo. um,
My baby.
my baby. So there's a bunch of weird stuff that happens along the way that I don't think this
You
is
don't say.
going to get over. At one point, Dead Man's just like, hey, we can't trust Die Hard Man anymore. He seems real shady. Something weird's going on with him. So we gotta not talk about stuff with him. So that's where you get the scene where Dead Man Kabedon Sam in the shower.
Oh right, you told me about that.
Because he's like, they won't listen to us in the shower. This is the only place that you're not monitored. So let's talk about this stuff. Eventually you meet Mama, and that's where you learn that like, oh, she was about to give birth, and then the Death Stranding happened. The hospital she was in collapsed, and then she gave birth to a ghost baby who's technically a BT. So it's like connected to her via long umbilical cord. So like it's like she basically just works in this like little facility, but she can't leave it because she has to stay with the baby. And then eventually you have to cut the baby's umbilical cord and free her. Which then she immediately dies after.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Then you have to take her body up a mountain to her twin sister Lochne, who has not had contact with her in like 2 or 3 years because they just didn't communicate with each other
Yeah.
about
Okay.
stuff. And then
Sure.
and then you reunite her, and then they're like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then they become one body.
What?
Yeah, they tried to explain like, oh, when we were kids, we used to like share thoughts and stuff like that. And now that Mama's dead, all of her thoughts are now in Lochne as well.
I don't like this.
It's real dumb.
I don't like this.
It's real dumb. Also, Mama's body doesn't decay or anything or succumb to necrosis. It just kind of just stays there in stasis.
That's.
Yeah.
Did they explain why? Okay. That's about what I expected.
You eventually meet Heartman, who just like tells you about like all these random events in history that have been like extinction events or extinction entities, and now we're on the cusp of the 6th extinction event. So like like the dinosaurs going extinct, like the Ice Age, stuff like that, extinction entities. And then he's like, look at these sayings, like look at this woolly mammoth. You see that right there? That's a tiny umbilical cord.
Look at this photograph.
That's why it's been able to stay frozen all this time. That's why it never decayed.
Oh my god.
It gets real dumb.
God.
Real dumb. You learn why Fragile is fragile because Higgs, she worked with Higgs at one point, and then Higgs like turned evil and it was like, hey, I'm gonna set off a nuke. And he sets off a nuke at one point, and then he's gonna set off another one. But he's like, hey, if you deliver this bomb, I'll let you deliver this bomb, but you have to basically, I'm gonna strip you down to your underwear, and you have to walk through the time fall to deliver this bomb. So like her whole body is now like elderly aged, except she has a normal aged face. Kojima.
How did her face not get?
I think she wore like a headpiece or something. I think that's how that she. I don't know.
All right.
It's dumb.
All right.
That's all you need to know, really. And then like all these are like just interlaced with you, just like going around delivering. That's just how things work. Anyways, eventually you basically get to the other side of the country, which is apparently the country is very small that you can just walk across it in 2 maps. That's how the United States works.
Would it be 500 miles?
I mean, probably.
And then 500 more.
I mean, oh boy, you'll yeah. Sam's journey culminates in direct confrontation against Higgs on Amelay's beach. So you eventually get to Edgenaw City. You confront Higgs there. He makes you fight a giant BT, which you have to like shoot with like rockets and stuff like that. It's real weird. And then he takes Amelie hostage again, and You have to go find her beach, which apparently Sam has been able to do when he was a kid and everything. So you have this direct confrontation against Higgs on the beach. Higgs reveals that Amelie is actually an extinction entity, a godlike being that can use the Death Stranding to trigger mass extinction events.
Dun, dun, dun.
However, Higgs seeks to trigger not just a mass extinction, but a last stranding, an event which would cause the complete annihilation of all life on Earth. So you have a boss fight with Higgs, which the first half consists of you just throwing stuff at him and then beating him up. And then halfway through, it transitions into fighting game life bars and a 2D style fight against him. Which, like, that is a thing Kojima has done in, like, the Metal Gear games where it's like, here's the final boss, you're going to have a fist fight with him.
Mm-hmm.
Which has been, like, cool because, like, you know, you have all this, like, history and all that sort of stuff. Doing that again here just felt like, man, you're really out of ideas, aren't you, my dude?
You got one stick and you're sticking to it.
Yep. Although it was really good that I ended the first half of that fight by hitting Higgs with a PlayStation.
What?
I picked up a box that said, this has a PlayStation in it, and I threw it at him.
This has a PlayStation in
Yep.
it.
I was like,
Okay.
all right, that's pretty good.
All right. Why not?
Shrug shoulders. So you beat Higgs, and you're like, yay, we did it. Fragile comes because she's like, hey, don't kill Higgs. I want to deal with him personally because of obviously what he did to her. And then eventually you hear like a gunshot when those two have their confrontation. She comes back while you're talking with Amelie. She brings the mask that Higgs wears and comes up to you as like, here, I brought you a metaphor. Which apparently in Japanese, the Fragile just says, here, I brought a mask for you. Which makes a little bit better. And then you have the conversation with Amelie where you're like, hey, I found you. Let's go back now. And she's like, I don't know about that. And then he's just like, and this is where we get the famous line of Sam going, what? So I'm Mario and you're Princess Peach? And then she replies back, maybe this is Mario and Princess Beach.
Oh my God, I want to break something. Preferably Kojima's face.
I will preface that, like, if you look up that scene on YouTube, I think the video is, like, the dumbest scene in Death Stranding. Because, man.
That is awful.
What a stupid line. Okay, so after that, you're walking the beach with her. There's a running montage where you're just like joyfully running along the beach together. And then she's like, "Hey, wait here. I gotta go up this mountain and go see some stuff." And she's like, "Hey, just don't look or anything." And then eventually you're like, "Okay, I gotta see what's going on." You see the dead President Bridget Strand on the beach, which is weird because why would she be there? And then Die Hardman shows up,
Okay.
pulls a gun on her,
Okay.
and is like, I'm going to basically finish what I should have done ages ago. And then Cliff shows up and gets into a conversation with Die Hardman. Die Hardman's like, oh, crap, I know who you are. And Cliff's like, oh, I know who you are, essentially. And then they're like, hey, you should look at Sam over there. And they're like, and they look at Sam, and Sam's like, oh, crap, I gotta go. Amelie basically like throws you down a cliff and ejects you from the beach, essentially. And you're like, oh, crap. This is bad. You basically reveal to your crew of like, hey, this is what's happening. We got to get back to that beach somehow. So in order to do that, you have to meet up with everyone again, which of course means the game's like, hey, so now you're at Edge Knot City. What if you went back to the very, very first place you were at the beginning of the game and walked all the way there? Through Timefall, through BTs, all while everything you've built is being destroyed. Yep.
That sounds bad.
It was very much not fun.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. It's very, very bland. But eventually you get back, and then Fragile is able to help you get back to that beach, and you have a confrontation with Amelie again, where she's like, "Hey, I'm an extinction entity. I'm going to deliver the end of the world. You have two choices here. You can either watch me do this, or you can try and stop me." But you know what he does? He gives a third option.
Oh no.
He hugs her.
Oh my god.
And then you get a very long-winded fake credit sequence where you get just a humongous narrative info dump that is just too long. Because a lot of it is just like you running around the beach, and then the game's like, okay, stop now, sit down, and here's Amelie going to explain some more stuff to you, and then you're going to get up and do it again while some credits roll, and then you're going to sit down again, and here's some more stuff, and you're going to do that a bunch more times until you find a way out of the beach. So she reveals, she's the extinction entity and all that stuff. Amelie and Bridget are the same person.
Okay.
Bridget is the part of her that exists in the world of the living. Amelie is the portion of her that exists in the world of the dead. So she had two sides of her, and then eventually she's like, "Oh, I could probably use this as a way to help with my research on like BBs and all that sort of stuff." Because she was leading a research on all that sort of stuff that the country was like, "Yo, this is real messed up," and she's like, "Oh, I will totally not do this. AKA, I'm going to do this in secret. No one, I'm not going to tell anyone." So she basically used that as a way to help her fund her research and all that sort of stuff. And then she was like, well, eventually I should probably utilize this in a better way. What if I just have her come along and be like, oh, this is my daughter that I was hiding away this whole time. Ha ha ha. There's like one point as well in the game where like, I think Dead Man is like talking like, have you ever met Amelie in person? Because every one of us have like never met her in person. We just keep talking to her via video recordings and all that sort of stuff. Like we've never seen her in person or anything. That's real weird. So now you know. She's not actually real. She's a purgatory person.
Oh my god.
Also, Amelie is the true leader of the Homo Daemons. So she's the reason that Higgs became a bad guy and everything, because he saw her abilities and was like, oh, cool. You seem rad. I'm going to follow you. And then she gives him the abilities to like summon BTs and all that sort of stuff. Because sure. That's the way to do it. And then you stop her and all that sort of stuff. And then you're like, okay, well, that's it. Well, game's over because I clearly I did the thing, right? And it's like, nah, dog, you got to come back to another place now. We got to do another delivery.
Oh
and
my
then we'll get
God.
the end of the game. So in the post-credits sequence, I don't know if this post-credits are like near the end. No, this isn't post-credits. This is like basically the final thing you do. But then it's like, here's an hour more of cutscenes and like that. Probably not an hour, but like too long. So once you come back from the beach and everything, you have to like follow everyone's voices and do it that way. Die Hard Man becomes the president of the United States of America.
Sure.
He takes his mask off, which he wears like a mask the whole time, and it's like, oh, he's taking his mask off. It's like, oh, he's just a dude. he's just a dude. Oh, also before we go into this, the final military combat sequence you have with Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
You learn that Cliff is your dad.
What?
And that the BTs, like the BB or the BB memories that you kept on seeing was of you seeing like what happened to him so many years ago. And then you eventually see like Die Hard Man basically is like, hey, they're going to do experiments on your kid. You need to get out of here. You need to leave. Because they're like in like a experimental facility, and like his wife's like hooked up on this machine and everything, and like is basically dead essentially. So Die Hard Man's like, hey, you need to get out of here. And like they had been military buddies. They'd been in the same unit, and the reason Die Hard Man is because Cliff basically made sure he never died. So that's how he got that name. So Die Hard Man's like, hey, get the out of here. They're going to do bad stuff. So he tries to get out, but then gets caught. Finds his way back into the room with his wife, and like trying to protect the BB. And then Bridget runs in and like pulls a gun on him. He's like, I'm going to murder you if you don't let go of that BB. Eventually he takes off like the thing the BB's in and like has it out in the open. And they're like, oh no! And then Bridget shoots him. she hits him and also shoots the BB.
Uh-oh.
So she was like, "Oh crap, that was real bad. That baby is like very important to us." So she uses Amelie on the beach to get the dead BB,
Mm-hmm.
bring it back to life by like cutting like a cross into your stomach,
Um,
and like resuscitates you and then brings you back from the beach that way. So that's how you're able to like have like that death defying ability, is because you were basically born, or like you were revived on the beach. It's real dumb.
okay. Sure.
Sure. So yeah, Die Hard Man's the president. You sit there, you stand there and watch some of his speech, and he's like, all this wouldn't be possible without certain someone here. We can't really say who it is, but you know who it is. You saw him out there bridging us all together. And then Sam's just like, I'm out of here.
My God.
He attempts to leave, and like Dead Man I think shows up and is like, hey, so if you really there's a thing I could do to make your handcuffs come off. Which handcuffs are like a thing that like is like essentially like a tracking device for bridges and everything. But it's also like a communication device and all that sort of stuff. But like, hey, if you take those off, no one would know where you would go or who you are or what's going on. You would be off the grid essentially. So like, if you wanted to do that, it's fine by me, my dude.
You could become a doomsday prepper if you wanted to.
You totally could. So that happens, and then you get a hug from Dead Man, which is very surprising because Sam the whole time is like, he has like a fear of touching people.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually lets someone in and has an embrace. It's actually kind of nice. Die Hard Man shows up and is like, hey,
Where's my hug?
so you know about the whole thing with your dad, huh? Like, that was kind of my fault, but also I couldn't defy the president's orders because, like, I loved her and I loved him. I loved them both. I couldn't do anything.
Oh my God.
I mean, he like the actor does like a really good job here of like conveying a conflicted emotion towards Sam, which is like it's a decent scene.
Okay.
So, but that's essentially what happens. So you go to leave. Fragile shows up and is like, "Hey, you want to come work for me again?" He's like, "Nah, I'm gonna go do my own thing." And then they say the line together of, "They're not fragile. They're fragile, but they're not that fragile." Also, you've been told that Lou's dead.
Uh-oh.
And that's one of the things Dead Man says is like, "Hey, you have to go transport this to the incinerator, but like, if you took it out of the pod, like, there's no telling what could happen. So, I mean, if you wanted to try that, you didn't hear that from me."
Oh my God.
So that's the last thing you have to do is you have to go to the incinerator to drop off Lou's BB body pod thing. You get to the incinerator, you connect to Lou again for like the last time, and then that's when you basically figure out like, oh, these are my memories, not Lou's. I'm Cliff's son, and all that sort of stuff, and like it like takes you through like all the events that happened in the lab and everything, and then he like shows up out of the blue, but no one can see him at the end, like right before Cliff dies. But then like Cliff like is able to like reach out to him in a weird way, and like talks to him, and like that's where you get the line like, "Oh, my life, I've always felt like I was always on the cliff's edge."
Oh my God. This game. I can't.
But then that's also where you see like the whole how Sam technically dies and is brought back. And then that's why Bridget adopts him to raise him as her son. And then you come back to the present and you put the baby on the incinerator thing, and then at the last second you grab it. Also, you put your handcuffs on there and those are gone, so you're off the grid for good. You pop the baby out and the baby doesn't do anything for a while. And you're like, oh no, I'm sad, the baby's dead. But then right before credits, you hear the baby cry.
This feels like an edgelord middle schooler wrote it.
Would you like to hear the post-credit stinger?
Oh God, hit me.
So it's just you see like a hand, like Sam's hand, and then the baby's hand. grab at each other. And he's like, Luis. My God, the baby's a girl! That's the post-credit stinger.
Can't with this game.
I'm going to steal this joke from Giant Bomb because it was very poignant, and it is the best way to describe this game in a nutshell. Kojima made a long-winded, completely over-the-top gender reveal.
Yeah, that's fair. It's like those crappy cakes, but like with a really terrible game.
What if you had to wait 40 hours for it? God.
So I have a legitimate question.
Caller, go ahead.
Why do you see this man's butt so much?
He showers a lot.
Why?
He gets dirty a lot, so you got to shower him.
Gameplay mechanic of this.
You don't want him to be dirty. You're like, I got to make sure this dude's clean. I don't want to go around and looking like I'm just like filth.
But like, I don't give Mario a shower after I've gone through several worlds in like a Mario game. Why does he need to have a shower?
He's got a shower there. He can also pee and poop. Make grenades of his pee and poop. Also, you do get grenades from showering as well. So
what?
You can get grenades from bodily functions.
What?
That's the thing. And you can use them against BTs.
Why?
They're a thing you could use.
No, how does pee turn into a grenade?
I don't know. It's just some thing they use on that thing. It's like his blood has like this special ability to fight against BTs, so that's why they use like his fluids and stuff to make weapons out of it.
Okay, well, I was about to say something, but I'm not gonna say.
Doesn't go that far.
Okay.
Does not go that far. Thankfully.
I mean, it honestly feels like an excuse just for Kojima to like have his butt in this game.
I mean, you do see his butt a lot.
I feel like that's what this is.
I mean, that's probably also
like,
very true.
It's really uncomfortable. That's like, all right, time to go make this dude go take a poop. Like, that's weird.
There's also, I mean, there is a thing where like you have to monitor your urine level.
It's because you drink so much freaking Monster
It is,
Energy
and then
drinks.
if you have too much, you just have to go pee in the wilderness, make a mushroom grow.
What?
That is a thing in this game. You can hover around a mushroom that other players have peed at, and contribute to the mushroom growing.
I hate this. I hate this so much.
That's a thing in this game.
I mean, do you have to in public?
No, you only pee. And if you try to turn the camera around, he'll shift away so you can't see anything.
No, Norman Reedus Weenus.
No, Norman Weenus. So yeah, this is a game. This is a video game about bringing people together.
Is it about bringing people together?
I mean, parts of it, like when you're just going around building the network, and like when you are doing things that you don't have to deal with the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part of the game's fine, and it does feel like a game where you're connecting with people. But then, like it inserts the story, and you're just like, oh, come on, get this out of here. Get out of here. Like I said, it just doesn't feel like it says anything important. It's just like everything is so over the top and just blunt and straightforward. I brought you a metaphor, yeah. Like the only thing you could really, I think, kind of say about this is just like, this is Kojima trying to like rid himself of what he felt coming out of Konami, of being like, here's this world that like is just so split apart because of this strange relationship. Now I'm free to go be with anyone else, and I get to connect with all these other people now. But even then, it's like he could have done something better in that route if he really wanted to make a game about, here's my strained relationship with the company I was with for 20 years.
Right. Oh boy.
Sure is a video game.
I got nothing, man. I got nothing. What the heck? It just feels like a giant like Wank off party.
And the thing is, like, we watched like the Game Awards where like Norman Reedus came out and was like, ladies and gentlemen, this visionary genius Hideo Kojima is like, how do you come up with that coming off of this game?
Right. Like, you were in it, dude. Oh, boy.
What does Kojima have on these people to have him like, to have them just be like, oh my god, look at this visionary auteur. He's like, nah, dog, you're just, I mean, you've made some good games in the past, but like, this isn't even close to this.
This ain't it.
This ain't it. This is the worst Hideo Kojima game I've played. By far.
Wow.
Like, it's pretty easy to say that.
Yeah, I mean, knowing what I know of you, that makes sense. But also, it just seems like weak in all aspects compared to the other stuff that I know you like.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
What does he have on them?
I don't know.
Do you think he's blackmailing them?
I don't know.
Does he like have good drugs? Does he have their nudes? Like, what does he have?
It's a great question. It's so bizarre.
Fake smoking on the sidewalk with them.
That is the thing.
Yep.
Yeah, like this game's so weird. Like, the fact that people were like up in arms that this game was controversial when like reviews hit about it, feeling like, oh, this game's going to be great. What do you mean? And then everyone shut up about it once they played the game and all that. It's a weird game. Like I said, there are parts of this game I think are actually enjoyable if it was like cut down very far and just like rip the story out of it. You just like made a delivery game that was like this. Like, yeah, this would be totally enjoyable. But just like the story just sucks. It's boring. It's bland. It does not trust the player at any point in time to like to be able to like dig deep into layers of like thematic elements or anything like that, to like do anything critical of anything. It's just like, I don't know, what if I just made a story for a 5-year-old to understand?
It's bad when, what was the anime movie we watched a few weeks ago? Whisker Away is like more in depth in terms of this kind of thing than this freaking video game.
Yeah.
Ugh. Terrible. I don't know, man. Like, power to you for playing it, but oof.
Like, I don't know. I don't see how people are going to be like super excited for what he does next, because like, this wasn't good.
Well, if he's trying to make like some kind of series type thing out of this, like, ooh.
And I don't see how you make a series out of this.
Yeah, I don't know either.
The game kind of just wraps up. Unless you want to be like, oh, the world splintered again. And then you're just like, well, just doing the same thing over and over again. Cool.
Time to teach Louise how to walk.
Hold the trigger so you can balance yourself.
Ugh. I don't know.
I think what I wanted when like I heard Kojima's was free of Konami, which, give or take whatever you want to think about that whole situation. Right. But like, I kind of just wanted to see something like him kind of like return to like his old adventure game kind of styles of directing and of gameplay and all that sort of stuff. Something like kind of similar to Snatcher and Police Knots. Mm-hmm. And this does not hit that in the same way. Like he feels like he kind of has to make a game like Metal Gear Solid.
Right.
Like he's pigeonholed himself into like, this is what people expect of me. I have to do these. I have to be weird. I have to be wacky. I have to make an action game. I have to hit all those boxes because that's what people expect from me. And like, that's kind of like what it feels like he thought he had to do with this game, and just everything is like inferior to those previous games in a way. And just like, that's just not a healthy way to create a game. Like, I get like you're coming off of like a really weird, strained relationship, but even then, just like, man, you could have made whatever you wanted, and this is what you
did. All right, so here's the $1 million question.
Okay.
Would you play another Kojima game after this?
I mean, probably. Because, like, the reason I played this game is because, like, I was curious about it. Like, I knew eventually I would play this game. Because I've played literally, like, most of his entire back catalog.
Right.
So, like, I had to know. I had to know personally, like, what the whole thing was. Like, what was the deal with this game? And I think I came away liking it a little bit more than I actually thought I would. With just regards to, like, gameplay and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, man, that story's not good. And then coming off of the heels of... So I mentioned this to, I think, Trey, friend of the pod.
Mm-hmm.
And it really feels like Kojima heard a lot of the criticism about Metal Gear Solid 5, which was like, hey, the gameplay's good. But God, the story is terrible because, like, there's barely any of it there. And, like, he heard those criticisms, took them in, and was just like, what if I just make the same game again? And not address anything. Because this really kind of feels like the same thing, where it's just like, the gameplay is good to an extent, but the story just sucks. So I don't know.
Yeah, that stinks.
I feel like I would have to see something real interesting to be, like,
Hype about
truly
it?
intrigued by whatever he does next. Because if it's just another third-person action game with weird story elements, like, I'll buy that game when it's $20, like I bought this game when it's $20,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll be like, meh. Whatever. Like, I think it doesn't help that, like, there are other companies out there that are doing, like, the weird zany style
Mm-hmm.
in ways that are just, like, more fun and enjoyable. Like, I think if you look at, like, some, like, the Yakuza series, which is, like, a very grounded story, but it has all these weird, wacky elements with it.
Right.
Like, those games are just so much more fun and enjoyable compared to this. Compared to Metal Gear Solid 5.
I mean, there's a way to have, like, a very serious story with comedic elements.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just got off of replaying Shadow Hearts and Shadow Hearts Covenant for the millionth time. And, like, those are very dark and serious stories, period. But then, like, they have really funny and ridiculous moments in it, too. Like, it's something you can do, even when it's bonkers. But, like, I don't know. Not everybody can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it. But, like, I wouldn't try to do it because I'm aware that I couldn't do it. I would rather you not jump on the laptop right now.
He's going to give his thoughts.
Max, do you have thoughts? He's like, I also don't like Kojima. He sucks. I don't know why I had Max speak in that voice, but, you know.
Makes sense.
Yep.
So yeah, Death Stranding. I think at best, it's a boring game. At worst, it's just bad.
That's not a glowing review.
No. No, it's not. Man, what if we just played or Snatcher again? What if I just played Metal Gear Solid 2 again?
What if I just listened to the soundtrack for Snatcher?
I mean, that too is also...
I mean, that's
Chef's
A
kiss.
plus. I've got that on vinyl now. Thanks, buddy.
That is a very good soundtrack.
It's a very good soundtrack. Which reminds me, we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do for Christmas this year.
It's true. We'll eventually figure that out.
Mm-hmm. Kojima!
Kojima, you got boring.
Kojima, get your head out of your ass.
Make something interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna do it. That's Death
We're
Stranding
done.
in a nutshell. So yeah, if you'd like more from us, go to seasonlanguagecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Season Language Checkup and Jared and Now Watch. You'll also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast and other stuff as well.
Yay!
Next week, we'll talk about more stuff.
Uh-huh.
Maybe next week I will talk about Mass Effect and you can talk about your Otome.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get through it.
Because the Lord knows we need more games that are about the apocalypse.
I mean,
that is a thing.
it's pretty terrible what's going on in the Atome.